Joining us again on another Saturday morning edition of Weather Impact Live. I am 10 Tampa Bay meteorologist James Gregorio, joined by First Coast meteorologist Lee Southwick as well. So we've got you covered from Tampa to Jacksonville in the First Coast. A lot going on. We both have weather impact alerts for our respective TV markets here this morning. So a lot going on, Lee. You know, we had fog this morning. The fog was terrible here, and that dense fog advisory wasn't just on the West Coast and in the Bay Area. That extended all the way to, I feel like the whole state of Florida was practically under a fog advisory here this morning.
It was, you know, when we drive to work so early in the morning, it's a little spooky out there when you see all of that fog. And that's why with here on the First Coast, you know, we cover Northeast Florida and Southeast Georgia. Georgia didn't have the fog this morning like Northeast Florida did, or I should say a lot of Florida did, but they had the showers already this morning. And
well,
I know we have even more rain on the way now to Florida.
Yeah, you guys are going to get probably a little more, I think, than we're going to get. And the drought has just been so much worse, I feel like, in the Panhandle. And that has scooted across from the Panhandle on over to you in Jacksonville and St. Augustine and Ponte Vedra and areas like that.
And, you know, that's why we say this is beneficial rain, much needed rain. No one loves when it lands on a weekend, but we're trying to keep people positive that we need this rain. And also, I don't want to jump too far ahead here, James, but we have a really big home game tomorrow. The Jags do, and we can't afford to not show up.
Yeah,
so we
exactly.
need everyone. I've been saying pack the bank, but pack a poncho.
Exactly. Who are the Jags playing, by the way?
Oh, it's a division rivalry. It's the Colts.
Oh, how about that, right? Well, the Colts were good like 100 years ago, right?
Big game. Well, we're both tied for first place, so we need to win to get back and be solidly first. Yeah,
that's true. Huge game. All right, let's run through some graphics and what our forecast is doing here. And, you know, as mentioned, Lee, we have a weather impact alert here. We had the fog this morning, and then we've got some weather concerns. Again, popping up this afternoon. We don't really have a weather impact alert issued for this afternoon, but we certainly have it in place for tomorrow afternoon. The Bucks are home at Ray J against the Saints tomorrow afternoon here. So again, should be a pretty decent game, but concerned about the weather, particularly for the second half of the game and then into Monday morning. That could impact the Monday morning commute as well with some more showers. And if we don't get the rain, I think there's enough moisture and humidity, we might see fog again Monday morning. So that's our weather impact alert that's in place. Lee, what about you and what about there on the First Coast?
That's a great point. I will just go right to our weather impact alert graphic. If we can pull up my graphics now too. So for the Jacksonville area, it's now through Sunday evening, though I like that you guys mentioned Monday morning. We aren't including that in our weather impact alert, but it's possible that we could have just a few showers isolated around Monday morning before we really start to dry out. But main event happening now, continuing throughout the day today, overnight tonight, and through our Sunday, widespread rain and a localized flooding risk. I'm more concerned about the localized flooding risk in Southeast Georgia today because that's where more of that widespread steady rain hangs out all day, while it's scattered right now in Northeast Florida. But then tomorrow, I think it's more widespread across Northeast Florida, and so there'll be more of a localized flooding risk for our Northeast Florida counties on our Sunday.
Kind of sagging south. So as the front continues to sag south and move south, the rain threat and the higher rainfall totals will kind of push south with us as well. All right, so I got some winds up here. I think that was probably part of the problem this morning, the lack of wind, obviously, and the higher humidity. So we had that. Our wind speeds now are really, really light, like 3, 4, 5 miles an hour, although a little breezier. You could take this graphic full so I can't see it here from the desk. It's too far away. All right, Clearwater at 13 miles an hour, St. Pete at about 8, Lakeland at about 5. You got old man eyes. All right, anyway, I digress. We're okay here. Visibilities have gotten much, much better. We're talking about 8 miles an hour, 8 miles rather, no miles per hour, 8 miles. Clearwater 10-mile visibility, and so much better. That fog was a blanket of fog this morning. So we are in fact faring a lot better at the hour, certainly shaping up a lot better here. Visibilities were down a half mile, and not just, in the Nature Coast, which has been a frequent area for some of the fog, but also in the Bay Area as well. Dew points, look at that. Ugh. It is icky and sticky outside. 74, 75 in St. Pete. That's a summertime dew point. 74 in Tarpon Springs. Yeah, so, oof. I mean, and that's one of the reasons why we have the fog. We have that southerly air kind of moving on in, southerly flow, and that's kind of jacking up the humidity. And we're feeling that here this morning, leading to the fog. All right, Bucks, as mentioned, playing the Saints. I do think that the second half of the game, our rain shower chances increase. That shower and storm threat is certainly here. High temperatures near 80 degrees with that southwest winds. So, it is somewhat concerning. You got to pay attention to the forecast. I would pack that poncho, pack that rain jacket if you can. Wouldn't be surprised or wouldn't rule out a stray isolated shower, maybe even an isolated storm as we head in through the second half of the Bucks game after halftime. So we're not forecasting any severe weather, but we are, certainly mindful that a stray isolated storm could be in the forecast as well. So that's what's happening with the Saints and the Bucks here coming to town. And of course, Lee, as you mentioned, you got the Jags playing a big one there as well. So what's your forecast for your game?
All right, so I'm going to start, if it's okay with you, with a look at radar first, because we have rain in the forecast as well for the Jags game, but it's already falling for a lot of us in southeast Georgia, which is part of the First Coast. So for those of you from Waycross to Patterson to Bristol, you've had it falling for over an hour, really over 2 hours now, and that's moved into the Nahunta area, really extended over towards Brunswick and St. Simon's Island. Every once in a while, those showers passing through Jekyll Island, Folkston as well, and notice that widespread rain looks like it's about to push into Nassau County. So it looks like more of that widespread rain moving into Florida a bit faster than our models were originally showing us. So just a heads up, it's just a soggy, dreary, damp day today. So when we take a look at our current temperatures, it's chillier out there for us. We are significantly cooler for places like Jacksonville, at the airport, Mayport, St. Augustine, Keystone Heights. And today we're going to only stay in the 60s. And again, we'll have that light drizzle out there and then more of that heavier rain likely moving in later on tonight. So this is 5 o'clock, still more of that widespread rain over southeast Georgia, and every once in a while moving into northeast Florida. I think it becomes a bit more widespread with that heavier rain in northeast Florida, places like Nassau, Duval counties, by later in the evening and overnight. So for any Saturday night plans, please keep this in mind. It will be raining. Please be very careful on those roads. Then more of that rain continuing into our Sunday morning. So if you have church services, brunch, tailgating for the Jags game, likely dealing with some rain, and then that rain risk continues into our Sunday afternoon. So of course with kickoff at 1 o'clock, there will be rain around here. We have it pause later in the afternoon hours, and just dealing with more of that rain continuing through game time. Let's see, my graphics actually froze here real quick. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can get it to load up this Jags forecast. There we go.
Oh, there you go.
So
Good.
There's our forecast for the Jags game. 1 o'clock kickoff, showers around. The other thing I want to remind people of too is not only do you want to bring a poncho, but likely a sweatshirt, have that under, or just a heavier raincoat, because it's 60s. So it will be a chilly rain here for the Jags game. But again, we really need to pack the bank. We have to win this game. So we need everyone to go out and not be scared of the rain. Just stay warm, stay dry.
Lee, I'm laughing because you're like, bring a sweatshirt. It's like 62, 63 degrees, and I'm like, I would just be happy if I was dry.
If that's not cool to everyone, but I do think if you get soaked, when it continues to rain through the game, it's going to kind of sink into your bones a bit.
Yeah, a little soggy, a little raw, maybe. If if your rain jacket, if you got like one of those cheapo rain jackets that don't really do a great job at keeping the rain off, So I can see that, but the 60s, I'd be pretty happy as long as I was dry, right? Without a sweatshirt.
I'm glad that you do this with me, because I'm sitting here like, wow, it's 68, it's freezing, and you're like, no. So we have the good balance here between
a little yin and yang.
What people will think.
Right, for sure. Yeah, we're closer to, we're well into the 70s, and today we'll see a high close to 80 degrees, where your high will be significantly cooler than that. So we've been warm here in southwestern Florida for sure. So, all right, let's go back to the maps here. We'll run you through a couple more. And here's the story. Satellite and radar shot here in the Tampa Bay area. And we've got a couple showers trying to move on up towards Tarpon Springs. You'll see a little of that ribbon of rain and some cloudiness and some more clouds a little further to the south, trying to fill in St. Pete Beach, down to Sarasota and Manatee County, Sarasota County. You see a few clouds there as well. But again, the rain thus far has been, I don't want to say virtually non-existent, but it has been super duper light and really spotty, only really kind of north of Tampa and the Bay Area. All right, so taking a look at some temperatures, here we go. Those numbers are, look at that, Sarasota is already at 78 degrees, going up to 79, maybe 80. Clearwater at about 77, Dade City at about 73, Wauchula at 73 as well. So it really kind of depends where you are. Lakewood Ranch at about 76 degrees. Futurecast, now this is where it gets interesting. Pretty quiet through the afternoon hours today. We've got this little ribbon of rain further to the north here, and you can see it kind of going by towards Crystal River, up towards 75, and in towards Citrus County and in towards Hernando County, up towards the Nature Coast. Little more rain kind of streaming on in overnight, and then things quiet down for a few hours. 5 a.m. generally quiet, and still quiet 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. Could be a drifting shower or two in the Bay Area, but heavier rain, at least modeled over portions of Crystal River, Brooksville, areas like that as we head into the afternoon hours. But there is that line that comes through, right around Tampa and in through portions of the I-4 corridor heading off towards the East Coast. That one could clip portions of Ray J and could clip portions of New Tampa, as well as in towards Ybor City, many of our neighborhoods. So just be mindful of that. And then we get a break for a while, 3-4 hours or so before the rain starts to tick up. Now, we do have weather impact alerts really in some form or fashion for today, for tomorrow, and into Monday morning as well. So I do think the worst of the weather is actually later tomorrow, more like tomorrow night, into Monday morning. Chances are higher, or chances certainly increase as the day wears along tomorrow morning. So make sure you stay with myself and Jenny Dean here on 10 Tampa Bay tomorrow morning as well. Meteorologist Colleen Campbell will be in this evening. She'll certainly walk you through all the advisories and the weather impact alerts which are in place as well. So Lee, what's your time frame look like in the Jacksonville area? I suspect it's probably a little earlier. You had mentioned that Monday morning really isn't an issue for you guys, and it's not a huge issue for us, but we're leaving it up Monday morning just because it could impact the Monday morning commute.
And I think that's smart. I think for us, it's not widespread enough to make it an impact alert. I think that a lot of that rain will be dying down here in Northeast Florida. So, when it's cloudy, there's a few lingering isolated showers. That's what we're watching for Monday morning. But really, that drier air should be moving in by Monday morning. So a lot of us will not be impacted. As for our timing here, though, when it comes to the rain, I do have this graphic to pull up. And I want you all to take it with a grain of salt. It is a model run, and so it's not exactly what's going to happen. But what this shows here is that more of that rain will move throughout the day today. Notice it's already a little bit wrong because it's not showing how widespread it is already across southeast Georgia. But the takeaway is these off and on showers throughout our Saturday. So it's already started, but it will continue to ramp up tonight. More rain overnight tonight into our morning hours. And then as we head through Sunday, that's when I think we'll have more widespread rain for Northeast Florida. So 8 a.m., you're getting outside, you're walking the dog, you're going to church, you're going to breakfast, maybe you're heading to Everbank to get ready to tailgate. Rain out there. It continues into the afternoon hours, and it will be off and on throughout the afternoon, finally starting to quiet down some in the evening. Now, this that we're looking at right now, if you joined me this morning for Good Morning Jacksonville, models were showing a lot of rain still by 7 p.m. Newest update has come in, and it's a bit drier. So it shows us drying out a bit faster, but still, that's just one model run. So we need to see a little bit more consistency with that. So I'm still keeping the lingering showers for the morning hours on Monday, and then during the afternoon, mostly cloudy and temperatures still in the middle 60s. And I'm going to show you our 7-day forecast because I do want to let you know too that on Tuesday it's drier, we have more sunshine, but it's also still cooler. Those highs are in the lower 60s still. Then we start to warm up a bit. End of the work week, we will be back in the 70s. So all of our friends in the Tampa Bay area get to enjoy a little bit more warmer weather today than us. We here on the First Coast are going to be in the 60s through the middle of the upcoming work week.
Here on Tuesday, Lee, in the low 60s. So I want to know, it's 61 degree for a high. I mean, are you breaking out like your winter coat?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. You know what?
So when you leave your house at 45
pulled up
degrees.
This photo because I feel like you would have appreciated this. My fiance took a picture of me when we were walking around Nights of Lights, this big festival of lights in St. Augustine. And I had my winter coat on, I had a beanie on, and I had gloves. And he took a picture and sent it to his family and said, it's 57 degrees. Because they're all from North Carolina and D.C.
Right.
And they were laughing at me, poking lots of fun. But yes, at 57 degrees, I was in my heavy winter coat. So with the high of 61, that means most of the day in the 40s and 50s. So I will absolutely be bundled up.
Freaking out the Uggs.
Yes, no, for real, I was wearing them.
For real, the struggle is real. All right. So I'm going back to New Jersey next week, and I think our highs almost every day. The high temperature is right around freezing. 30, 31, overnight lows in the 20s, and I think there might be a couple mornings where it dips down into the teens. So,
I'm getting goosebumps.
Maybe I should send you a picture. I'm sure you'll appreciate that.
Yeah, please. You'll have to send a picture, and then, or are you going to be here next weekend?
Yes. Yep. Yes.
I won't be, but please save it for the next time that we do this.
Yes.
You'll have to show me your winter weather, and then I'll bring in a photo of my winter weather.
Yeah, exactly. The best part is invariably there'll be more than a couple knuckleheads running around in shorts and like a hoodie, but it's like 30 degrees out. So.
Whew. Yeah, please take those photos. We call our photos of that weather watchers here at First Coast News. So we need some weather watchers photos of those people in shorts and
a hoodie, and it's like 30 degrees out. So even my two dogs, my big guy Max, he doesn't care. He'll go out in anything. He'll hang out in anything, any temperature. The little guy, the little Chihuahua, Chiweenie, whatever he is, he hates the cold weather. They're both rescues. Little guy came from like Laredo, Texas. He's a total warm weather guy. Hates the cold weather. He'll be like snuggled up under a blanket, when it's, he doesn't even want to go out. So it's pretty funny. So that yin and yang in my house, going on between those two guys. So anyway, we digress a little bit.
As long as you provide the fuzzy warm blankets for your little guy.
Yeah. He definitely is one. And he'd be like, if you want to put like a little doggy sweater or coat on him, he'll do it. The big guy would be like, dude, really?
So cute.
He'll give you that look. He'll be like, not happening. The big guy doesn't wear anything. Doesn't wear any bandanas. You can't put anything on him. He hates that. So little guy is all up on it. Like, give me the sweater, give me the jacket.
Okay, do you dress him up for Halloween and stuff?
No, I do put his like Buffalo Bills collar on game day sometimes, stuff like that. Big guy, again, can't be bothered with that. He's like, leave me alone, I'll just do my thing. So
fair.
Anyway, fair point. It's definitely like the odd couple, those two. So running around. Anyway, let's check out some rainfall totals. We talked about the rain, we talked about the weather impact. And Crystal River forecasting, or at least model guidance, is hinting at, and Lee kind of touched on it before, we talk about the models a lot, and these computer models are what the forecasts are based off of. We look at a lot of them. We look at a lot of data. We look for consistency amongst run to run, things of that nature. But at the end of the day, it is still model guidance. It's guidance. It's not gospel. So we don't take it 100%. We look at a lot of different things and we're like, this makes sense, or this doesn't make sense, or we've seen rainfall totals or rainfall total projections higher in Crystal River, higher in Brooksville, on consecutive model runs. So we think that's going to happen. We think that's a good bet. As far as Tampa getting almost an inch of rain, sure, that's a possibility. Will it happen? Probably not. Mulberry at about 0.97, probably not, but it could. You see Sarasota, less than 0.4 of an inch. Venice, a little more than 0.9 of an inch, close to an inch. So that's a short span, but that is possible if you get clipped with a heavier downpour. Last week we had some heavy rains in South Tampa, in St. Pete, and with a thin little ribbon that ran into downtown Tampa. But so we had over 3/4 of an inch in those areas. And, Tampa International had 6/100ths of an inch. So it's extremely microclimate, extremely localized. And that's what sometimes you happen to get with some of these bands, which are in fact moving through. All right, so again, we talked about the temperature disparity between Jackson and Tampa and how Lee is not going to extend the weather impact alert into Monday morning because she's like, the front is through and the drier air is working into the first coast in Northeast Florida. Makes total sense because the front is moving from north to south. So we're not going to clear out Monday morning as quickly as Jacksonville will. So that's why we have the weather impact alert in the Bay Area, and Lee and her folks and friends and viewers in Jacksonville don't need it for Monday morning as well, because they're going to be a little bit ahead of us as the frontal boundary goes from north to south. So high pressure filling in behind the front. We're not going to enjoy that Monday morning quite yet, maybe Monday afternoon, but we'll take a turn at some of those cooler temperatures during the week. I think we have one day, it's either Tuesday or Wednesday, where our high is in the upper 60s. So just for you, Lee, we do get into the 60s, just one day briefly and barely. 69 for that high temperature. I forget, I'll have it in the 7-day forecast. It's either Tuesday or Wednesday. So.
I feel like we should just trade places, because that sounds
Right.
like my type of weather.
Yeah,
One
yeah.
day in the 60s and then bring me back to the 70s.
Right. And today, really close to 80. There will be spots here that touch 80 today. So
That sounds amazing.
that's more in your wheelhouse. Hey,
100%. And you know what I just...
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, wait, sorry, what did you say?
No, go ahead. Yeah, that's fine.
Well, I was just looking at Climate Prediction Center and outlooks. So, it's December and we're talking about temperatures.
Right.
And some people think it is December, it should be in the 60s. I will say the Jacksonville average now officially in the 60s. So usually this time of year we're sitting in the upper 60s. But if we can take my graphics really quickly, we're going to look at the temperature outlook, and wherever you're traveling to, the Climate Prediction Center does expect the southern half of the country to be warmer than normal. Now, the northern half likely a bit cooler than normal. But if we zoom in here, you will notice that all of Florida, let's zoom out, include Tampa, expected to be warmer than normal. So, James, what is the average this time of year in the Tampa Bay area?
Right around 75 right now. So our averages are still pretty
Okay.
warm. And keep in mind, literally, and they've come down, and we were closer to 80, I feel like, just, 3 weeks ago. So they've definitely come down a little bit, but we're still very, very pleasant. I mean, we've had some really gorgeous weather, obviously, with the drought. We haven't had much rain. We need the rain, but, my feeling is if it's not going to be rain, then we might as well have some gorgeous weather, which we've had. So we've been really lucky.
Absolutely.
So, I'm like, look, if we need the rain, let it pour for half a day. Let's get a bunch and then let it clear out right away. I hate like the consistent gray, dreary days that you get no rain and they're still gray and dreary. So you don't really enjoy it and they're not pretty to look at and it doesn't make you feel good because it's gray and dreary, like this morning.
That is what you're speaking to a lot of our viewers right now in Northeast Florida, because they haven't seen the rain yet. They just woke up to fog and now cloud cover and cooler and weather out there, and so it is just a dreary day. It's not very exciting or fun out there. I know a lot of people want to get out the door on a Saturday, but you know what I told everyone, James, is I think it's perfect football watching weather. There's a lot of football on today, a lot of championship games, and this is the perfect weather to, here at least in Northeast Florida, curl up and get cozy with 50s and 60s still out there right now, so we'll need a warmer blanket to get all
Lee, maybe you
cozy
can
and watch football.
fire up the fireplace or something like that, right? So, hey, we're looking at a shot
absolutely.
of I think Ray J.
Everbank.
Oh, I'm sorry, Everbank. I'm sorry. Yeah, there you go. So that kind of tells the tale. It is cloudy. It is gray. It is pretty ugly. there.
Yeah, it is. And you know what? We had a Christmas parade this morning in St. Augustine, and I believe we have a live lookout in St. Augustine too of Castillo de San Marcos, which is the fort there in St. Augustine, and it's going to tell you the same story. We had a reporter out there. Of course, this type of weather doesn't ever dampen a fun Christmas parade, but you can see how it is gray and dreary and misty. So they had a lot of fog this morning, and it kind of stuck out with the mist. And now if we take a close look, you see, I'm not crazy. Everyone else there bundled up. They're all wearing jackets. I promise you it's chilly here.
Jackets. So they're not, I don't know how bundled they are, but they're definitely, looks like they have rain jackets on and things like that. I can't really tell if they're,
They got pants on.
They are.
It's a little chilly. Let me go look again at the temperatures right now in St. Augustine. Let's see how we've done warming up. It is 61 degrees in St. Augustine.
Oh,
so
my goodness.
People who might be visiting probably not bundling up, but anyone who lives in the St. Augustine area, locals who went to the parade, we're definitely wearing our jackets right now.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm sure they were long pants and, that sort of thing. So what exactly, when Lee says bundled up, what does Lee mean by that? What is bundled up to you?
Long sleeve shirt, sweater on top, jacket on top of that.
Wow. And you think at 61 right now that folks are utilizing the Lee Southwick bundled up method?
Not everyone.
Not everyone. Okay.
But I promise you there's going to be just a handful of people out there like that. No, I think with that, when people are, you're right, I think I did say bundled up, but I think people are wearing probably a shirt and then just their heavier raincoat or jacket over it right now.
Sure, that's fair. I agree. That's probably we just, our 10 Tampa Bay rain gear, thankfully, we have the arm zips that you could dump heat out if it gets too warm. They kind of refer to them as pit zips. So you have the zipper underneath your arm, which is great, which is a really nice feature. So because a lot of times it's so humid.
I hope the marketing team's watching. We want that here at First Coast News.
Yeah, exactly. They're Patagonia jackets, so they're fantastic. So hey, Lee, thanks so much for joining us. Always a good time. Great to catch up with you. Have a fantastic rest of your weekend, and thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out, and thank you everyone for watching us today and always joining us on your Saturday morning.
All right, that's going to do it for Weather Impact Live. I am 10 Tampa Bay meteorologist James Gregorio, joined by First Coast meteorologist Lee Southwick. Thanks for joining us today. We'll be back next Saturday, and of course, I'll be here tomorrow as well. We'll see you then.